So this one's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be responding to two different prompts because the first one is actually quite short, and I don't feel like doing a minute and a half long video is really worth it. So I'm just going to do a couple different prompts that are similar, at least in my view. So without any more ado, let's get into it. Well, I'm never having kids. I've never wanted kids and never will. I've always seen myself as a husband and a partner, but never as a dad. Up until this week, the closest I've been is being a dog parent. I love my sister's kids and can play with them and make them laugh, but I'm too exhausted by children and only like them as much as I can give them back to their parents. But in the strange universe where my partner and I ever did have children, I don't think I would raise them pagan, for lack of a better term. Certainly, paganism would be practiced in my house, and my children would know about my beliefs enough, but I have very strong aversions to raising children in a religion. Yes, raising them with the positive morals and values, and if those align with your religious teachings, fucking great. But children should get a say in what religion they wish to follow. The indoctrination and sealing of children into religions is a harmful and gross practice that I will never condone. I am biased because my childhood religion, Mormonism, required me to get a notarized letter from a lawyer in order to completely remove myself from the church records. It's just not a thing I would ever want to impose on someone. That's what I think paganism and polytheistic paths have over other major religions. They don't have the closed minded doctrine of monotheism and exclusionarianism. Pagans, most usually, are very open minded and accepting of other belief systems. If I had children, I'd raise them to have the same value. If they saw what I did and liked it, or had a draw for it, then I would absolutely be supportive and teach them about it. But if they showed interest in something else, even monotheistic faiths, I would still support them in so much as that belief system was a moral one and they still held values I would want to teach them of being open, accepting, and welcoming, and kind members of the human race. Religion isn't the only way of gaining morals and learning to be a good person. Anyone can be a good person, and all I would want for my children is to be kind people and to not be assholes. Okay, so this next one might seem a little bit strange, but for anyone that has pets, especially people of my generation, it will kind of line up. All right, excuse me if I get a little emotional about this one. There's a lot to unpack here, and the emotions and recent experiences for me are still quite raw. As a disclaimer, this is going to deal with some heavy shit like talk of death, trauma, and will be quite uncomfortable for everyone. But I'm going to do my best. So here we go. I'm honestly not sure how the fuck to go about this. I mean, I could go through all 20 years of my life with each of the 4 dogs in my family as had and how each of their deaths impacted me and my views on death. But I'm not sure I want to. I at least don't want to go too far into this, as that could be an entire novel's worth of memories and experiences with them. Really like the whole Encyclopedia Britannica kind of length. Instead, I think I'm going to just talk about my last dog, Bruce. I had him the longest, and his life has been very intrinsically connected to mine and my faith alongside. So, yeah. I got Bruce when I was 11. I still remember vividly of me getting a text on the bus from my parents telling me that they'd gotten me a surprise. When I got home and opened the door, there he came barking away as he would for every day for the next 13 years. He always barked at the door. Despite being less than 20 pounds and a little Boston Terrier, he still did his best to be a good guard dog for our whole family. He immediately bonded with me, somehow understanding that he was intended for me. My parents had me name him. Now, our family has the tradition of naming our dogs after cartoon characters. Our first pair were named Wallace and Gromit, after the claymation characters, followed by a Brussels Griffon named Betty Boop. That was my mom's dog. So when it came time for me to name my dog, they suggested names like Tarzan and Popeye for obvious reasons. But after hours of thinking, as I played with him, I settled on Bruce. Later, I justified my choice, saying it was in reference to Bruce Banner and the Hulk, or Bruce Wayne, or even Bruce the Shark from Finding Nemo. My family has never accepted that reasoning, but Bruce he was, and Bruce he will always be. I'm going to fast forward here. There's 13 years worth of memories, like I said, that I could describe, but that would make this essay longer than Ulysses and just as rambling, so I'm just going to have to go straight to the end. Fuck. Okay. To put it bluntly, Bruce didn't deserve the ending that he got. Not a single dog has ever deserved anything like what he went through. One night in June 2022, he had a massive seizure. And when I say massive, I mean it. My partner and I came home from being out that night to find him seizing. Not sure what was going on. We tried to clean him up as he had shit himself, and we thought he had just had something in his eye. But after 5 or 10 minutes, we rushed him to the emergency vet a few cities south. He seized the entire drive there, a 20-minute trip. By the time we got there, it had ended, but he was so lethargic and just not normal. Thank the gods for the veterinary staff as they took one look at him and rushed him into the back. All in all, he seized for at minimum 30 minutes, not counting however long he was before we had found him. For reference, the maximum amount of time before animals develop brain damage from a seizure is 5 minutes. 5. Even if we had been home when it started, there would have been zero chance of him not getting brain damage, since we were nearly half an hour from a vet anyway. In the days following, his mental status deteriorated rapidly. I'll save all the fucked up and quite traumatic things that my partner and I had to witness and do, but needless to say, those 5 days following his first seizure were the worst of my life. By the last day, we were pretty sure that he was having minor seizures whenever he tried to sleep. It was just fucking terrible. We went to the same vet when we decided to finally put his body to rest. I saw it like that. I say it like that because I don't believe that Bruce was there after that initial seizure. It just wiped him away and left the body of a barely functioning dog behind. Save for 2 final times where I think he came back for a few moments to be with us. On the ride there, my partner held him in the back seat of our car as I drove. The entire 5 days before this moment, he had been constantly pacing. 24/7, he'd pace whatever area of the apartment he was in. Endlessly, until he became too exhausted and slept for very small intervals and then went back. Now, pacing in dogs is a sign of high anxiety and stress, and combining that with the seizure, it was another sign of definite brain damage. But in that moment with his mom, he laid down in her lap, put his hand in their hand, put his head in their hand. For almost the entire drive, he stayed with his mom and finally got some rest. His final moment was with me. We sat there in the vet's patient room, and I held his head as he laid on his bed. He finally had settled down, and the vet was ready to give him the meds to put him down. In that moment, he was there. He was so still and calm and sleepy with his head in my hand until the end. I'm not going to lie, that experience, the whole week of that, has really fucked me up. My entire internal clock and calendar has been broken since then, and single weeks feel like entire months. It's only been barely 3 months, but it feels like it's been years. I fucking miss him. I miss him a lot. But it hasn't been unbearable because of one thing. Artemis. Artemis is known for being a goddess of the wilds and animals. This mostly is represented by deer and other woodland fauna, but I believe her realm of being also exists and extends to the animals we call family. In the days around his final moments and the days since, I truly believe that Artemis has been here for me more than ever. While humans have Thanatos and Hermes to guide them and act as psychopomps to the afterlife, I believe Artemis is there for our pets. I kind of believed it before, but I just know now that she is there. I felt her with us, and I still do. My family believes in the concept of the rainbow bridge for pets. It's a view of the afterlife for pets as being a rainbow bridge that they cross into a field of peace and happiness where they can wait to be reunited with us when we too pass on. This, of course, is technically a Christian thing, but I believe it can be true in all religions that believe in the soul of an animal. When I was a kid and a Christian, I heard of certain sects of Christianity that don't believe in an animal soul or its ability to have an afterlife. That I did, and still do, find utterly fucking ridiculous, and I applaud anyone who argues against that. So for me, when a pet dies, they are taken by Artemis away to the underworld. Instead of a ferryman on the river Styx, there's a small bridge made out of rainbow-colored light. With a small encouraging pet and a nudge, the pet will run across it and into the fields of asphodels, or Elysium, maybe, and join the other animals they knew in life. And when it comes time for us to enter the underworld, we'll walk along the banks of the Styx. And when we pass a certain place on the bank, a small bridge of light will appear, and running across it will be our furry familiar, feathered or scaly face, and we can hug and be reunited once more before we finish our own journey to Hades. I'm not sure if animals can pick a religion or have a specific afterlife in accordance to their own owner's beliefs. But no matter what god or pantheon you follow, I believe they will be with your pets and guide them on so you can be with them again. I pray to Artemis often in thanks for her guidance of Bruce and my family. I thank her for being with us and for the many years we had with him. 13 years will never be long enough, but I'm extremely grateful that we had what we did. Bruce was put to rest on June 21st, 2022. It was the summer solstice. The sky was clear and the sun was bright. He got to sniff the breeze one more time, and in his final moments, he was happy and he was loved. Thanks for listening.